Hi, I'm Nick, and today on Horror Time, we will be talking about Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Electric Boogaloo.
No.
Is that not it? Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Nightmares.
It's not it either.
Nightmare on Elm Street 2, The Curse of Freddy.
Still, no.
Nightmare on Elm Street 2, the Dream... What is it? What's the title? Nightmare on Elm Street 2, the Freddy's Magical Mystery Tour. What is
No, damn it, that's not...
Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge, was released in 1985, a year after the original Nightmare on Elm Street was released, and stars Mark Patton as Jesse Walsh. The Walshes have just moved into the previous main character, Nancy's old house on Elm Street, and spooky stuff starts happening. Most sequels are not known for being up to par with the one that came before it. Freddy's Revenge is definitely not up to par with the original Nightmare on Elm Street. One could make the argument, and I would, but not really in this video, that none of the Nightmare on Elm Street sequels live up to the greatness that was the first one. It had rushed writing and a rushed production schedule because after the huge success of the first one, the studio just wanted a sequel as quickly as possible. So they gave it to him. It has some really cool special effects in it, though. And really, that's through the whole of the series. Every Nightmare on Elm Street movie, no matter how dismally bad, and there is at least one that's almost unwatchable. You guys know which one I'm talking about. The special effects are pretty cool. Really fun to watch. Some crazy body horror stuff happens in this one. You should check it out. So, it definitely fails as a sequel to Nightmare on Elm Street by not only going in kind of a vastly different direction than the first one did, but also by breaking some of the rules. And everyone who's seen this movie and doesn't like it is going to tell you about the pool party scene, where Freddy Krueger just jumps into the real world and starts running around at a pool party attacking people. That's not scary. Like, it took the fear out of this guy can get you anytime because he can only kill you in your sleep. And you gotta sleep. So Freddy Krueger in the real world at a pool party, he's just a dude with knives on his hand. He's a freaky looking dude with knives on his hand. But that's all. There's no fear there. Even Robert Englund delivering the admittedly pretty cool line, "You're all my children now," comes up kind of flat when, you know, it's just some dude standing next to a barbecue. It fails as a sequel, as I said. But does it hold up as its own movie? Most sequels completely depend on the movie that came before them for giving them context. And, I mean, in a lot of movies, not so much horror movies, especially slashers like Friday the 13th or Halloween, you really have to have seen the first one to understand all the ins and outs of the second one. Nightmare on Elm Street 2, you really don't. They give you all the information you need up front and then proceed to go in a, different direction with the whole thing. It's just the house that is now haunted by Freddy, sort of. Not super clear. Anyway, Mark Patton playing Jesse Walsh is possessed by Freddy Krueger. Freddy needs him to have a physical body for some reason, because I guess he got tired of killing people in their dreams after the first movie? I'm not really sure. His motivation's kind of confusing. Jesse has to fight against the Freddy urges throughout the whole movie, and eventually, spoilers, by the way, is overtaken completely by Freddy. Freddy attacks said pool party. His friend, who is a girl, but not his girlfriend, helps him reclaim his body from Freddy, and Freddy's banished to the somewhere, wherever, banished. The movie ends on a really stupid note because they tacked on a "yeah" moment at the very end where they're all in a bus and Freddy is laughing and the bus goes into the desert for some reason, and then the movie just ends. Like, we had a happy ending and then they added that on, and which makes absolutely no sense given what's happened previously in the movie. Whatever, doesn't matter. I know what a lot of you familiar with this movie are probably waiting for, and that's what I'm getting to now. The gay subtext of Freddy's Revenge. Not so much subtext, as it is just very present. I mean, there's the whole dance sequence, the coach at the leather bar. The coach is dead. Everything about the coach. And then his friend Ron. Jesse running to Ron's house to sleep in Ron's bedroom after a failed makeout session with his not girlfriend. It's just the whole thing. And the film cast and crew has famously said that they had no idea about the gay subtext. None whatsoever. Even though, again, it's less subtext and more just, right there. David Chaskin, who wrote the script, did say that he intentionally put all of that in there, and that I believe Mark Patton was also aware of it. He's openly gay, and was openly gay at the time of filming, so it makes sense. How the rest of the cast and crew had no idea is beyond me, but it was the 80s. Who knows? Different time. Weirder time. Look at the fashion. Now, this subtext in the movie actually does help the movie stand on its own. I mean, without this, it would have just been a super rushed sequel to a very popular horror movie. And then, when the third one came out, The Dream Warriors, Wes Craven jumped back in, and The Dream Warriors is probably the second best Nightmare on Elm Street movie in the whole thing. So Freddy's Revenge would have just been swept under the rug and forgotten completely. I know a lot of people, even now, still really want to forget it. But this actually makes it kind of important. Almost a landmark. Almost. I mean, there have been LGBT themes in horror movies from forever. I mean, every incarnation of Dracula ever seems to have that scene between Jonathan Harker and Dracula. You guys know which one I'm talking about. And, of course, Dracula's daughter and the vampire lover. A lot of vampires now that I'm actually saying all of this. As well as The Haunting, which had Claire Bloom. Right? Claire Bloom, yeah. Yeah, Claire Bloom. Playing a gay character. Never explicitly said because, 60s. But pretty obviously there. Most of those, however, play it off as sort of deviant evil behavior or something, especially in Dracula's Daughter and the Vampire Lovers, where the vampiric characters are evil and gay, and that seems to have to do with one another, which is, not exactly the kind of representation that is needed. This movie, however, seems to have Freddy Krueger as representing the self-loathing that Jesse would have felt. Especially in 1985, the, AIDS paranoia stuff that was going on in America at the time. So, Freddy Krueger representing that actually makes it kind of an interesting character arc in the movie. That he's afraid that he's turning into this monster because that's what everyone tells him these urges mean. That he's a deviant, that there's something wrong with him, that he's, evil, whatever. And at the end of the movie, when he takes his body back from Freddy Krueger, he says, no, this isn't who I am. I'm Jesse Walsh. I'm just some guy. Not a monster. Just a dude. Of course, we still get that really terrible ending that doesn't make any sense, but ignoring that, it's kind of a nice little, coming out story. It's okay to be who I am. Who I am is a gay guy. Well, that was it for this episode of Horror Time. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you didn't, you can tell me why in the comments. If you did, you can tell me why in the comments. You can just tell me something in the comments. Anything. Like, subscribe. You guys know the drill. You got it. Oh, and also, if you know of any other horror movies with LGBT themes, and I mean straight up horror movies, because I know that there are some horror comedies out there, put them in the comment section below as well, because I have a pretty tough time finding some. They don't seem to exist. Anyway, everybody have a good night, and I will see you on the next episode.